You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. You're listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join Coach C, a USA Strength and Conditioning Hall of Famer, every Monday night as he and a variety of guests, including former players, former and current coaches, pastors, and others will discuss relevant issues in coaching today's athlete, with the goal of equipping the athlete and those coaching them with the physical, mental, and spiritual armor necessary to live their best life. Here's Coach Connors.
Good evening and welcome to Absolute Empowerment. Today our guest is former NFL fullback, three-time Pro Bowl selection, Associated Press first team NFL All-Pro selection, Super Bowl champion, and former ECU Pirate Vonta Leach. And I had not a whole lot of time to coach Vonta, but enough time to get to know him a little bit. And Vonta, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Coach? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we got a lot of things to talk about, and recently I had Terrell Williams on, Rod, and some other players, and we kind of have some common topics that I like to hear about. But one of the purposes of the show is to help young guys kind of wade through some of their decisions and have a little bit of a realistic view of the NFL. And learn a little bit about what it takes to be successful, not only in the NFL, but in life after the NFL and life in general. So we're trying to get more young folks, more young athletes to listen to these podcasts. And that's one of the primary purposes. And then also to try to provide them with a spiritual life. So I'm going to put things in reverse today with you. And
All right.
I want to talk about basically what you are doing now first.
All right. Well, basically, what I'm doing now, I'm an elected official. I'm on a local school board here in Robinson County. I'm serving my second year. I just finishing up my second year of a 4-year term. So I moved back to where I'm from. I'm from Robinson County. I moved back to Lumberton, and I want to serve, and help, underprivileged kids, and be a voice so people don't have a voice on our local school board. So that's what I'm doing now.
Gotcha. Now, you told me that you also have another venture. You're going to open
Yeah.
a restaurant. So tell me a
Yes,
little bit about that.
I opened up a restaurant. Never thought I'd be in the restaurant business, but I am opening up a restaurant in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's a Hay Street Kitchen. It's going to be a Southern cuisine. We're going to be serving a lot of good soul food there. We're going to have a lot of live music, entertainment. For you could bring the family. You could come on a nice date. And it's downtown Fayetteville on Hay Street. We're also going to have a rooftop. So pretty excited about that. We're within about 45 days of opening.
Wow, that sounds exciting. Now, do you have some of like grandma's recipes up in there, or what? What we
We're
talking
gonna
about?
have some, and we're gonna have some of that stuff. We're gonna have some, of course, we're gonna have the delicacy, some fried chicken, mac and cheese. We're also gonna have a Robinson County thing, what you call some collards, some sweet. We got a lot of stuff, man. So, like I said, it's gonna be a Southern cuisine, and I think we're gonna have a lot of stuff, chicken and waffles, a lot of different stuff that you get when you go to these other places. We're gonna have it at our spot.
Well, my wife makes her grandma's collards, man. That's some of the best I ever ate. So we might have to share that recipe with you.
Yeah, come on down.
I'm kind of partial to some peach cobbler too,
All that good stuff. You got to have some vanilla ice cream with it, and
Oh
it's got to
yeah,
be warmed up.
I hear you, brother. Hey, that sounds great. It sounds exciting and sounds like fun too. So tell me a little bit about your family. Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have I have two daughters. One is actually finishing up college. She's a senior this year at ECU, so
Okay.
she'll be finishing up. I got another younger daughter. She's actually in the seventh grade, so it's a house full of women, and it's me. So that's part of a family. So got two daughters. I'm very proud of. Proud of that. I'm a dad. I'm a dad girl. a girl dad.
I got you. Yes, sir. We just got a little granddaughter. She's a couple months
Oh,
old now, so we're real excited about that, of course.
oh,
Yeah.
congratulations! I know she's gonna have you wrapped around the fingers, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go to the young Vonta Leach now, growing up, getting interested in athletics. Tell me a little bit about your influences growing up. What kind of pointed you to athletics? And then what were your experiences, coming through high school, and who were your influences?
All right. Well, you touched on a lot of points there, so let me just get there. I grew up in a small town called Rolla, North Carolina. In a town with one stoplight, we didn't have much to do. I grew up with my mother. I come from a single parent home. I grew up with my mother. Um, I got in first involved in sports just a way for me to keep coming home from school every day. I had didn't know nothing about college or anything. I just started playing sports, just for me to have something to do, just to stay active,
Right.
And in order for me to have good grades, in order for me to play sports, my mom made me have good grades. I had to make the AP honor roll, and I thank you for that today because when it was time to get recruited or be recruited at a college or something, my grades was already good, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But let's go back to my eighth grade year. And I didn't start playing football until my eighth grade year. I played baseball, basketball, and football was the last sport I actually played. So I had one of the guys come up to me, one of my teachers, say, "You can write your ticket to anywhere you want to go." Listen, I'm probably 14 years old, maybe younger. Don't know what the word that means. Didn't have no clue. But so you can write your ticket to wherever you want to go. And I had some coaches. I had some coaches in my life. Like I said, I did. My mom and my grandma made sure I had good grades, kept me out of trouble. If I got in any kind of trouble, little thing that was at the schoolhouse. They was always encouraging me. They kept me on the straight and narrow. I had some coaches, that kept me good, that kept me involved. My uncle, like I said, I have people in the community, in the church that stuck around me. It took a whole village,
Right.
from my parents to my grandmama, granddaddy, to my uncle, to my coaches that I had, Rick McKinnon, Mike Brill, they kind of took an interest and stuff in me, and we still talking to this day. So I had people all around that took a part or interest in me. They kept me out of trouble, kept me involved, and kept me on the right track.
Now, who recruited you to ECU, and what other offers did you have? What other schools were you looking at?
Coach McManus, that was my guy. Coach Mac
Yeah.
recruited me to ECU. I remember when him and Steve Logan came down to recruit me. But I was highly recruited out of high school. I had the Carolinas, the NC State, the Tennessee, Florida, Florida State. I remember John Chavis, the defense coordinator for Tennessee, was defense coordinator at Tennessee at the time. He came to my high school to watch me play a football game. But I didn't want to leave the state. I was a country boy. I was a good old North Carolina boy. I had no desire of leaving the state of North Carolina. And back then you talk about 98, 99. ECU had one of the best football teams in the state. And I said, hey, I
Yeah.
want to be a part of ECU.
Right. No doubt. I know we were all very happy to get you to commit to ECU. I remember that. And of course, I was there for a little while with you. So I guess I'm kind of wondering, when I went to Carolina and you guys came up and played Carolina, I think Lefevre and Purnell were the inside backers. So what were you doing in that game? I couldn't remember.
Well, Purdell was the inside. Well, okay, Purdell was the inside backer. Gray was the outside backer. They were both inside backs. So what I was doing, I was splitting time with both of them. We
Okay.
have a series. We have a series. We had a count. Right then we had rows and we had a count for me 3, 2, 3. So I go in, spell them. and stuff like that. I also started special teams,
Right.
stuff like that. And I also was a short yardage back. I also was a short yardage back and goal line fullback for our offense.
Okay. So, did you redshirt?
No, I didn't redshirt. I
Okay.
played a true freshman. And you remember when they wanted the red shirt, but Pernell Griffin had got hurt.
Right.
I think 3 or 4 games into the season, so they had to take that red shirt off of me, and I had to play.
Right.
I started out red shirt, no.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the hardest days of my life coaching against you guys. 'Cause, man, that's a lot of
I,
people I really cared about over on that other sideline, and of course, I cared about the guys I was coaching too, because I spent a lot of time with them preparing for the season. But yeah, that was one of the toughest days of my life.
I know that. We let you off the hook too. They called that. I still remember they called that 60-yard touchdown. I think
Yeah,
either by Art or by it was either Art or Leonard Henry. I forgot which one. It was like a
it,
60-yard touchdown. The referee didn't even see no block in the back or nothing. He turned around. The guy was on the ground. He threw the flag.
well, I know that
It was good.
I know that one of our guys at Carolina punched that ball out when somebody, I
Yep.
think it was Art, running the kickoff.
Yep. Run the kickoff back
Yeah.
also. Yep. I remember that also. It was a packed house down there.
Right. Well, looking at your career at ECU, and then I just want to say a couple things about how I saw you and your characteristics, because I really saw you being very similar to Rod Coleman in a lot of ways. I mean, my dad coached me all through high school, and I played in college, and I love the contact part of the game. And my dad would always say, "Football is fun if you win, and win if you hit." So where I grew up, it was all about hitting somebody. It was all about contact. And if you didn't want to hit somebody, you probably wouldn't last on our high school team very long. But you guys were hardcore headbangers all the time, physically tough. And I'll use the words nasty and ruthless, and I'm using those in a positive way. But when you want to win, sometimes you
Gotta
go
do
to
what you got to
whatever
do.
it takes to get the job done, man. Very competitive. And I was telling Rod, I thought he was resilient and willing to play with pain. Same thing with you from what I saw. And those characteristics that you had, I look at those. And then when I watched you play in the NFL, I saw you magnify all those characteristics, and you got better as you played in the NFL. It seemed like you just got better and better, and more physical and more violent, and more as you gain confidence. I know that little tailback with the Ravens probably should have given you a bonus every week, man. Because you were leading up in there on a linebacker or whoever. And so going back to ECU, what were some of your best experiences there? And I was curious as to if you played much running back at all at ECU, or because of course when I was there you were linebacker. So was there any transition, or did you go on both, especially with McManus recruiting you? I know that he recognized your value as a fullback.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened, what transpired. My sophomore year, we go into camp. We go into camp of my sophomore year. They brought in some younger linebackers that were a little faster. They were faster than me and stuff. So they said that we would change our defense. We went from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Put me on the outside, hand on the ground. I hated it. Then that's the same year also. I played in the fraternity. I played Jamaica South Five.
Yeah.
Coaches weren't really happy about that. But
Yeah.
So we got into the game. The first, I think our first 2 or 3 games in the season, we played West Virginia. We went up there to West Virginia. Our running backs, West Virginia probably had over 400 yards rushing on us. Our running backs couldn't get to the second level. Um, they can't get past the second level after they get through the hole and stuff. The linebackers always tackle and stuff. So Sunday morning, we they called me to the office and they were like, we go over there, you know how you have your Sunday practice and stuff, walk through. Vontae, we switching your position. We switch your position, which that's the second or third switch within a year. We switch your position, you're on offense now. You're not no more on defense. So, I was bad. I was mad and stuff at first. I went to Logan office, went to office coordinator office at the time, and they had all these plays written on the board. They said, "Look at this, about that. This is how much you're gonna play. You see all these plays. This is you." They had I formation, we lined up pro eye, slot eye, all these kind of formation stuff. And I had no idea, but it's probably at that time was probably one of the best, the best decisions or the
Yeah.
the best thing in my career. As far as I don't think I could have made the league as a linebacker, but as a fullback, yes. So that's probably one of the best thing. It was the saddest day and the best day probably of my life. Don't know when it happened to me, and looking back at it, didn't know that then, but knew that now. And you ever hear Logan talk on some of his shows and stuff, that's what his claim to fame that he made me a lot of money switching to the fullback. But it was good. Like I said, I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, not only did you enjoy hitting somebody in the mouth, but you also had a lot of potential in the weight room. I mean, as far as getting strong, I mean, the sky was the limit for you. You made me and people like me, my job's easy, because you responded very quickly to training. And of course, I was a numbers guy and record
Yep,
board guy and all that kind of good stuff. But
correct.
I saw that definitely as a big attribute for you. Now, you signed as a free agent, is that correct?
Yes, signed a free agent to the Green Bay Packers.
Right. So, when you got there, tell me a little bit about their training program and, how they conducted that and how that was different in the NFL. Was it kind of a shock to you? Was it similar? How did you find it?
It was a complete shock. Number one, I was starstruck. That one, you walk into the locker room, you see the likes like a Brett Favre, you see a Bubba Franks, a Donald Driver, my mind Green, and you're the grave digger, and you're a part of these. The first couple of days it was a shock. Then after that, you have to get over it because you're here now. You're a part of these guys now. You want to be on this team, and you want to be a part of this organization. So once the initial shock got over, and I had to learn how to practice. What I mean, learn how to practice. I'm a physical guy. I like to hit. I had to learn how to practice without practice with shorts and shoulder pads on. Practice without shoulder pads on. You had to learn how to do that. Had to learn how to catch the ball more. How to run through the catch. Had a lot of transition that I had to learn. When I was at ECU, they just told me just that I knew who I had to block. I blocked the toughest guy, the baddest guy on the other side of the ball. Because with defensive end or linebacker, they told me to go block him. They just said get him out the hole. With no technique and that, they just told me go get him out the hole. Hit him square the mouth, get him out the hole. And then as I got to the next level, I had a running back, Adrian Bennett. I had William Henderson. He's an East Carolina guy, kind of took me up under the wings and showed me stuff, showed me some techniques, how to stay low, how to drive through your hips, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a learning experience. But once I got it, I felt like I belonged in this league and I could play for a long time once I got it.
Yeah. When I trained George Kuntz in the summers for a few years, and I made it up there for one visit, and I was kind of amazed that they wrote the workout on the grease board, and I was like, man, that's a pretty easy workout.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like,
Well,
individualized to some extent.
it was individualized, and this is the thing, coach. Just like you've been coach all the years, at that level, you can't get nobody hurt in the weight room. You
Yeah.
can't, you talk about a lot of money, a lot of what you want to do, what guys want to do is probably you're not going to get stronger during the season. What guys do at that level, they want to maintain the flexibility and do preventative maintenance rather
Yeah.
than anything. Because if you get this guy, this $1 million guy hurt, the head man gonna be coming down and talking to you or something like that. So it, it was real, like I said, it was real adjustment. But like I said, these guys spending 40, 50 hours, sometimes 60 hours a week, practicing football, looking at film. Still, you
Yeah.
got to maintain your workout. It's a whole lot different, but the workouts was a whole lot shorter. But there, like you said, there was position specific or person specific. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I just saw where the Broncos let their guy go. I know the guy, but they said, we're letting this guy go because there's too many
Somebody got
injuries.
hurt. Yep.
Too many injuries in the past year, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not because Sean Payton's coming in, probably bringing his own guy, but so they got to have
Probably right too.
yeah.
Hey, both of them probably true, but that's the way it is. I had one of my guys was Garoppolo when he got hurt the first time. He didn't run out of bounds, and got his knee tore up.
Yeah.
They fired his physical conditioning coach after the season. Said it was his fault.
I got you. Well, let's talk a little bit about your career with the Packers. There's 3 seasons, is that correct?
Yeah, 3 seasons. Yep, 3 seasons.
Okay. And so did you increasingly get more reps as you went? And do you feel like you began to feel more comfortable at the fullback position? And, how did all that go for you?
Well, this is how that transpired. Like I said, I had a great coach with Edgar Bennett.
Yeah.
He's a Florida State guy, a Packer Hall of Fame. He was more running back coach. Talking to him, he used to say in the meetings, he brought us in there. He said, "Listen, it was a numbers game. You got all these. We had probably 3 running backs, and we're gonna have 2 fullbacks. It's gonna dress, and you're gonna have another fullback. Either gonna be a practice squad or whatever. So he bring you here. Hey, you either gonna be a starter or you gonna be a special team player. You gotta be one or the other. And
Right.
my first year, how I made the team in Green Bay, is I was a special team player. I know how to play special teams. I could play kickoff return, punt return. I was on all special teams. And being able to play special teams, I was valuable. Are you valuable to the team? Because not everybody plays special teams in the pros. You might think not. No, everybody can't play. Everybody don't get out. A lot of starters don't play no special teams, or they might play one.
Yeah.
So I played special teams, and that made me. When I would play special teams, that made me get a look on the practice field. I remember in training camp, I was getting 1 snap a day. I was getting 1 snap in training camp. We had 4 fullbacks, and I would get like 1 snap. But that 1 snap, I made sure I did my job and made sure I knocked my man out of there, made a hole. So during the beginning of the training camp to the end of the training camp, I would take it 3 or 4 snaps. 3 or 4 snaps a period. I went from 1 snap a day to taking 3 or 4 because I was doing my job, doing it right. Not only that, I was playing special teams, so they seen the value in me playing special teams. I was a young fullback, and they felt like I had a lot of upside and stuff.
Right. Now, what special teams were you on?
Kickoff return. I was on punt return. I played all of them. I either was on the field goal unit, the up back on field goal. So you just did whatever you had to do just to make the team. You did what you had to do.
That's a good
And
point.
we did what we had to do to make the team. And back then, it's illegal now. We had what you call wedge busters.
Yeah.
My job was just to go down and hit the wedge in the middle and just destroy it. That was it.
Yeah, we had a similar kid, Carolina, that he bounced around different positions, and eventually ended up at tight end, then went up to Green Bay and played special teams for a few years, Ryan Taylor. So I think that was after you, but kind of a similar situation. He was a tough kid too. He'd hit you.
Yeah.
So what then took you to the Saints?
Well, this is another blessing. This is another blessing, and this is another blessing in disguise, or a sad story, but a blessing in disguise. Not that sad, we played against Chicago. I made the team. I'm just going into my third year in Green Bay.
Yeah.
I made the team. I started the first game of the year. We played Chicago. All right.
Yeah.
Um, Armand Green had over 100 yards of rushing. I knocked Hunter Hillemeyer. I knocked him out on the ISO. A weak side ISO, I knocked him out the game. I'm talking about I crushed him. A lead ISO, boom, knocked him out the game. So, after the game the next day we're in meetings, Chicago ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. So we're in the meetings and stuff. The head coach stood up in front of the meetings and said, the only bright side we had on offense, Mine Green and Vonta Leach. I graded out 93%. I graded out 93%. Amon Green had over 100 yards. Bam, I'm thinking I'm good. So I always in Green Bay, I always rent. I always stay in a hotel. I just rent a place until I know I'm going to be on the team and stuff. So after the season, when I rent the place, I turn the key in. I just rent it for the season and go.
Yeah.
I had just on Tuesdays I off day. I had just went and got me an apartment. I just went and got me an apartment. I just finished putting my stuff, my last piece of furniture in my apartment. I get a call. I'm like, dang, somebody calling me. I looked at my phone and it got work on there. I said, man, somebody calling me for work. Let me see what they want. It was one of our personnel guys. He was like, hey, Vontae, come up here. I need to talk to you. We about to cut you. I was like, what? He was like, just like that, yeah, man, we're about to let you go. So I called my running back coach. He had no idea, which is a lot of this going to the running back coach or position coach. So he had no idea. I called him on the phone, like, yo, hey, listen here. I'm on the way to the office. They're about to cut me. He said, uh, he said, hey man, come see me first. That's best. He didn't even know he was furious about it. He said, come see me first, and I want to talk to you and stuff before you go. Man, so I went and talked to him, gave him the best luck, anything you can do to help me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They cut me. This is how the NFL and stuff works. Within 24 hours, I was on the flight to New Orleans. They picked me up off waivers. They picked, they picked
Yeah.
me up off waivers, off the waiver wire. No, they picked me up. This is another reason why they picked me up. They played Green Bay the same week. We played Green Bay the same week at Green Bay. So I've been up there. This is how the league works. I've been up there in Green Bay at that time for 3 years, so I knew all the signals. I knew everything. I knew the whole offense and I knew everything. So I seen the guys had wristbands on. We had to change the calls and change the what's called because doing third down and doing third down on Fridays when we go for third down on Thursday and Friday. I used to call out all the signals. Brett get up there and signal stuff. And I used to call them out for the running backs to let them know what was going on, let them know what he signaling and stuff. So they had to change all this stuff just for that game, just because I knew
Wow.
all the signals. So it was crazy, but we ended up beating them. But it was pretty good, pretty awesome. Um, I actually didn't dress for the Saints when I was there. I was there 3 weeks. I didn't dress out in the game, but I was there practicing and everything. I was also there first game back in Katrina. I was actually with the Saints. Um, Seen that game, so yeah. And I take it back to the year. I take it back to the year before when Mike Sherman got fired from Green Bay. I take this back.
Yeah.
Year before Mike Sherman got the Green Bay because who I was talking about with Coach now was Mike McCarthy. But the year before Mike Sherman got fired. I'll tell you how this stuff works. How you never want to burn bridges. always want to keep in contact with people that you played with, you talk to. This league and this fraternity and stuff, it's a 1 degree of separation. You know, so Mike Sherman got fired. When Mike Sherman got fired, our last game, I was ready to go home. It was Green Bay cold. I was like, man, my car's already packed. I'm gone. One of my veteran guys, William Henderson, talked to me, hey man, go up there and tell Mike Sherman, thank you. You don't know, you might see him again or whatever. Now listen, Mike Sherman was the head coach and the GM in Green Bay.
Yeah.
He walked by you, probably didn't even speak to you. Like didn't speak to you, didn't do nothing. But that was his personality. So I said, man, I really don't want to go in there. But I went in there and I knocked on his door. Make a long story. I knocked on his door. He sat me down. He'd be like, Vontae, I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. You don't know how this thing gonna play out. We may see each other again. Blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, right. But no lie. He said, I'll probably see you again. You can play this league a long time and everything. So fast forward to when I got cut by the Saints, Mike Sherman now is the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to Houston after the Saints cut me because Mike Sherman was there and they wanted a fullback that can run the offense. So
Right.
that's how the really sort of way how the story of Vontae really got started. Mike Sherman had a big part in as far as in Green Bay and in Houston or getting me to Houston and bringing me to H-Town.
Gotcha. Well, that's very interesting. It was smart of you.
Well, it's more hey, just taking a veteran advice and listening. It's not always about you. Sometimes just listen to other people that's been through it or going through what you're going through. So just take heed
Yeah.
and just take some advice from somebody. You don't always have to be the smartest person in the room, but if you listen, you can learn a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think collegiate football, professional football, I mean, it's about who you know, that's for sure. And
Yep.
you don't want to burn bridges. I burned a few in my day, but you know, try not to do that. As I got older, I kind of didn't care a whole lot if I burned a bridge because I was becoming more financially secure, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's how that works. But so were you there for like a year before you signed for $8 million?
Yes, I was there for six. I was there for 6 months. The year about 6 months. I actually how that story went out. I went worked out for the Texans. They wanted me to sign a 3-year deal, and I told them I wasn't going to sign a 1-year deal. So went back and forth, back and forth. So I finally signed, and I signed for the 1-year deal. And the fullback ended up getting hurt. To make a long story short, I was there making the offense look good, making it work. Won't play in any games. I went to the head coach when I never forget we played against Oakland. During that week, I seen Kubiak, Coach Kubiak, which we still text and stuff to this day. I seen him in
Yeah,
the training room. I said, hey, Coach, I need to talk to you for a second. I said, listen, I make these plays look good all during the week. I'm taking scout team in, first team reps. My guys only playing on Sundays and stuff. I don't think that's fair. I said, I want to play. He looked at me. He looked dead right. Said, Vontae, you're exactly right. He said, I guarantee you're going to play this week. He said, you know what? You're probably going to start. So that game, that day, that's the first time I started in Houston, and the rest is history. I never looked back. Once I started that first game in that year, once I started that game, I rush and run from like 80 yards or 75 yards a game to 100 something yards a game. Then after that year, I was a free agent, and that's when I signed for 8 million.
gotcha. Well, one of the questions I had too was I don't know who all your strength coaches were, but when I had you, I was constantly, I only had one thing that I was concerned about, and that was getting you to bend.
Oh yeah, hey, listen.
So, did you
Hey,
did you work on that a lot as far as your
I,
mobility?
I did. We worked on it a lot, but being at my fullback position, I worked on it a lot. What I usually do, End up getting smart, end up getting scratches, end up getting hire somebody to stretch me out twice a week.
Yeah.
I just hire somebody to stretch me out twice a week. I just get massages, that help,
Yeah.
all the kind of just working on different kind of stuff. I never been the most flexible guy in the world, but also I think that also helped me at my fullback position
Yeah.
because I was just so compact and stuff. So
Right.
I used it for my strength and for my what's called. But I was still stiff as a board, coach.
Well, those power angles are important, but you had so much explosion, you probably didn't need so much of an angle. And you probably had success knocking people back just with your upper body punch, I would imagine. So was it 2010 that you got selected for the first Pro Bowl?
Yes, 2010. That year, Aaron Foster led the league in rushing. He led the league in rushing. And then that year, me and him made the Pro Bowl. That was actually my first Pro Bowl. And what people don't understand, in the 2 years before, I was an alternate Pro Bowler. But
Yeah.
nobody never talk about alternate. But yes, but
Yeah.
2010 was my first Pro Bowl with Aaron Foster when he led the league in rushing.
Okay. And then 2011 again, correct?
2011 again, yes,
And then,
that was with the Ravens, 2011. Then in 2012, we're also with the Ravens, which they didn't play in because we went to the Super Bowl.
right. And I read a little bit about how the Giants were very interested in you. And was that when Houston was also interested in you, or was that when the Ravens were interested in you?
Well, both times, okay,
Okay.
both times the Giants were interested in me. I think they were. Both times they were interested in me. They wanted to sign me when I first signed. After they actually signed me to an offer sheet. Giants signed me to an offer sheet for the same 4 years, 8 million that Houston Giants had signed me. So Houston had the right to match it. If Houston matched it, I could stay with Houston. If Houston didn't match that, I was going to go to New York. So that's how that was.
Right.
That's what that was. Then when I became a free agent again in 2010, you know, the Giants also was interested in
Yeah. But around that time with the Ravens, you signed for then 11 million.
me. Yeah, it went up a little bit, but the years went 3 years, 11 million, so it was pretty good.
Yes, sir.
so,
Not
so
bad.
yes,
Not bad for a Lumberton young man.
not bad for a country boy from Robinson County that grew up in the town, one stop. Like it was pretty good, it was exciting. It was uh, breath of air. I really wanted to stay with Houston. I think we had something going good that was going. They didn't try to keep me. I got to a
Yeah.
strength for them. Every time we stepped out on the field and Aaron Foster ran for 100 yards, the price tag got up there and up there. And
Yeah.
that's what they weren't willing to put on the fullback. And just the business of it, I understood that. So I got with the Ravens. They said, this is a piece to the puzzle to help them get over the Super Bowl. I had no idea that the Ravens wanted me. They had already had LaRon McClain there, which I thought was a good fullback. But whatever happened with them, I don't know. It's not for me to speculate. But hey, they called me. They said they wanted me. I was on the first thing. I was on the first thing there, and like I said, we gelled together. The fans loved me there. The team was great. The guys that hang around, to be around. We had a great time on and off the field. It was the guys just meshed together.
Gotcha. So we didn't mention also that you were selected for a third Pro Bowl,
Yep,
but you just happened to be preparing for the Super Bowl.
correct.
So you had to prioritize the Super Bowl. So, tell me a little bit about your Super Bowl experience. And the other thing I was wondering about too is tell me about like your mama and grandma through all this stuff. And, they must have been
Well,
just elated and to go through all these experiences with you.
Yeah, my mom, she was elated. My mom didn't ever fly, didn't ever get on a plane. Somebody never flew before. Her first time flying was actually when I was in Houston. We bought out there. How you couldn't stop her from flying. We
Yeah.
bought out there one time to a game, showed her stuff. You couldn't you couldn't like I said you couldn't get away from flying. Now she wanted to come to every game. I actually lost my grandmother in 2010.
Okay.
Lost my grandmother. She passed away. I actually passed away while I was in training camp. I'm on the first day of training camp. She passed. I got a call that morning that she had died. I had to go to training camp the next day. I go to practice. I leave practice 3 or 4 o'clock. Fly home. Take care of the funeral arrangements, everything else. Fly back. Then fly in for the funeral, and I'm out the next day. So didn't really have no time to grieve and that. But and that business just is the way it is. And she was the lifeline of the family. She was the backbone. She held everything together, and she would have been very proud of her grandson. She always have. I still got my books that she always kept, or my newspaper clippings and stuff. I got 3 or 4 books, through my career from high school on up to college. Then when I was in the newspaper, that she kept all the clippings. But
Yeah.
like I said, my mom was very happy, very happy she got to experience that. When I signed to Baltimore, that was the first time that I was within driving distance. So my family was up there every game, every home game. My family was in Baltimore. I had 20 tickets plus each game, so my family always came and they always supported me.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, very exciting to win a Super Bowl, get a Super Bowl ring. I won't even ask you what you did after you won the Super Bowl that night.
Hey, uh, just know they had a lot of parties going on, and we had a good time. But
Yeah.
winning the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl, there are a lot of guys that played this game. There are a lot of guys that's Hall of Famers. Never got a chance to even play in the Super Bowl. The look back, the win one is more special. You're part of the elite crew that has a Super Bowl ring. That people this weekend they're going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser of Super Bowl ring. But just to get the experience to play in the Super Bowl, from the media to to the celebration of you going to the
Yeah.
town, the city that you're in, man, I'm telling you, it's one experience that I wish everybody got a chance to experience. Even when that confetti fall, I'm out there playing in it with my daughter. That's something, that she's gonna remember. My family's gonna remember for the rest of their life. I had them on the field with me. So it's just one of those things, man. You can't I can tell you how it is, but till you experience it for yourself, till you experiment it for yourself, you can't describe
Well, I'm not sure how many former Pirates experienced the Super Bowl. There's been a few. Uh, George gave me tickets to the one in New Orleans, and so I went to that Packers Super Bowl, and it was a very interesting experience. After the Super Bowl, the place that I was staying, I woke up and somebody was in my room robbing my room
Oh
in New
wow.
Orleans. Yeah. I jumped out of bed and the guy ran out the door, but I mean, I'm glad I'm still alive, basically. But
Oh yeah, wow.
that was kind of my not so good Super Bowl experience, that part of it. But I did have fun for about 3 days. So, yeah, I kind of been asking everybody this who's been in
Yeah.
the NFL, and what are the things that kill an NFL career, and what are the behaviors and the involvements and things like that young guys going in the league need to know about and need, as far as making the right decisions and developing a good reputation with the people. who are influencing other people around the league to keep you in the league possibly. And especially when you come in as a free agent, you don't see – I don't even know of any free agents that I've heard of that have accomplished what you've accomplished when, you went in there as a free agent and had just an incredible career and really the highest accomplishments that anybody could have in the NFL. So I know you can offer up a few things there for us.
Yeah. Okay. First off, what you want to tell guys, and especially when they first get to the league and stuff. Listen, choose your choose your friends and stuff wisely. That might sound like cliche or something, but no. Choose your friends who you hang with on the team, whoever you hang with outside of the team. Choose them wisely. When you're a rookie, you can't do everything that the veterans and stuff do. You can't go out like they go out. You can't spend money like they can. Just choose your friends and stuff wisely. Have somebody get with a veteran for your mentorship.
Yeah.
Get one that's been in there a long time, that's does the right things. Just like anything, you're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna do something that you're not always gonna do the right thing. But what you have to do, you have to learn from the people around you and the people before you that have made the mistakes and stuff. Also, get in your book, study. Get you a habit of you studying the game. You watch your film. You watch a film. Take care of your body. If you don't take care of your body, you can't make the money. Your body can't take care of you. Your body, if you can't take care of your body, you're not gonna have nothing to rely on. Your body's gonna fail you. You don't take care of it. Eat right, get your rest. These guys these days, they got these machines and stuff these days. It's unbelievable. You don't have to stay in a cold tub for 30 minutes at a time like we used to. They got the Cairo thing, 2 or 3 minutes, they done.
Yeah.
They got the salt water baths. Take care of you, but they got the salt water tub. Take care of your bodies and do the right things with your bodies. Get massages, get stretched out. Your body is the most important. Your mind and your body is the most important thing. Like I said, watch film, study. You always want. Each year I went up in the league. I had my stuff down. What I looked at what offensive linemen do. What is the what are the wide receivers looking at when they come to run blocking? What are they doing? Who do they got? I would know who I got. Now that you take it a step forward, who they got. That's how you know when you really become a pro. You can tell who everybody else blocking and stuff. I'll make your job a whole lot easier. If somebody misses a block and stuff, you pick up their block because they're gonna pick up yours. So just stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've met some coaches that have that gift that can pretty much tell you what everybody did. My dad was like that. Yeah, I thought he had a special gift for that. But that makes a big difference in in someone being a good coach or a great coach.
Yep. Make somebody be the average player, the good player, or a great player. It's only this much difference between the good player and the great player. There's only this much difference. Whoever put the most work in and study the game, take care of the body, uh, watch film, it can tell you a whole lot of stuff.
Right. Well, I really think that particularly at the collegiate level, during my career, I always was concerned with losing people, because I'm sitting there 2-3 years developing somebody, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And through my career, I saw probably over 100 guys leave because of marijuana. That was the number one culprit. So I always, of course, make reference to that. And, of course, different schools had different policies.
Yep. Rules. Yep.
Some people would give you a chance to get counseling first. Steve, of course, I really admired Steve in a lot of ways, but, he didn't play when it came to that kind of stuff, and when you set that kind of standard, it makes a difference because now your team has some discipline, and that discipline is going to carry over to the field on game day, and I believe that till I'm dead. Nobody's going to convince me anywhere different. But discipline was always very important to me. And so, do you remember? Let's say, let's talk about mentors through your career.
Okay.
Who were your most significant mentors? Whether it was a coach, a player, can you name a couple people?
Yes. Okay. My mentor, one of my number one was growing up, my coach that I had. Ricky McCannon. He was a janitor at the school, and he was a janitor at middle school, and was a coach.
Right.
And he was a coach, so he's one of my mentors. Mike Brill, my high school football coach.
Yeah.
I also named William Henderson, Edgar Ben. I had guys that that instilled some good stuff in me. I coached Chick Harris. When I was with Texas, and also Wilbert Montgomery. Another Hall of Fame for the Philadelphia Philadelphia Eagles and stuff.
Yeah.
Then we get those guys that I looked up to. Guys that I played with or played for that is still, like you said, a lot of good stuff in me that taught me some stuff. I learned something different from each one of the guys, kind of how I mold myself,
Yeah.
whether it was on the field, off the field, whether it was in film work, how you look at film, how you prepare. I learned something different from each one of those guys.
Gotcha. Well, I don't have anything to do with East Carolina now, even though I got this purple and gold shirt on today. But what I noticed during the time that I got to, coach at Carolina for 10 years, if you made it to the NFL, I mean, you had to kind of, not just get to camp, you had to make it.
Yep.
But Carolina had your picture and had, stuff about all the guys that made it to the league everywhere that you could possibly see, including murals in the stadium that they painted.
Yep.
I don't know what all, but I would love to see ECU recognize all the guys that played in the league, just in a stronger way where it might help recruiting. And I know that they're building this new indoor facility, so I may be thinking, I'm kind of hinting around, hey,
Well,
I'm not about it anymore, but
yeah.
I would love to see a lot of the guys that I coached recognized. And I was talking about the guys I coached, the guys that Skip Holtz coach, whoever. But the guys that made it to the league and had a significant career, I just believe that they need to be recognized somehow, whether it's in the stadium or wherever. But I just think that, that the school could do a lot better job of that as far as attracting recruits and educating even the fan base about, hey, you could talk to some of the young fan base and say, you know who Rod Coleman was? Now, I never heard of him. Well, guess what? He was one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL for a number of years, and he played right here. So that's kind of my bone of contention. But so I'm just going to throw that out. And Vonta Leach has a lot more influence than I have around. Sure, but
you know what? I like to echo, what you were saying, but what I would like to say is that we're getting better. ECU is
yeah,
getting better. I think we still got some ways to go,
yeah,
but we are getting better. Within the new when our old, I think of what was when you was there was our old trading room and stuff. Going
yeah,
through there is a pro wall going through it. There's a
yeah,
pro wall that's highlighted that when you go through there, it change colors. It got people names and stuff on them. I think hopefully, like you said, hopefully with that new practice facility and stuff, we can get some players or former players names on there. We will see, but
yeah,
I just what I want to see done, what I would like to see done, is bringing more of the players back that played more bring them back more. It don't matter if you played in the league or not, just bring something we have to do to bring them boys around, get the boys involved, bring them around. The guys that, they help build the place. That the
Right.
people even before me, after me, during me, all that kind of stuff. I would like to see that happen because I know a lot
Gotcha.
of schools and stuff, they have something that they bring the guys back there every weekend or stuff. I just hope that we can get to a point where we can do that.
Gotcha. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show, and I just love to hear about your story because I learned a lot of things myself today that I didn't know about your story, and I think it needed to be told. And I think there's a lot of other stories that need to be told, and that's kind of what I'm endeavoring to do with this podcast. And I really like to seek out a lot of highly successful people who have overcome things through their faith to be great. And I'm just going to say one thing about a scripture here. This is Colossians 3:23, because this is how I see Vonta Leach. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, not unto men. So whatever thou put thy hand to, do it with all thy might. And that's what Vonta Leach always did. And I know that because when I was watching you play with the Ravens and the Texans, I saw you road grade a whole lot of people, and I really enjoyed that. So I know that guy.
Well, I think I'd just like to say, I couldn't do it without the bed above, and I thank him for all the many blessings that he has stored upon me and my family, and all that's yet to come.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Thanks again. This is Jeff Connors, Absolute Empowerment. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Vonta.
All right, thanks, Coach.
You've been listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join us every Monday night for a new edition of the show. Listen to the show pretty much everywhere podcasts are found. Be sure to follow us on social media at The Sports OBJ on Twitter and TikTok, at The Sports Objective on Instagram. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. And go Pirates!